Hello and welcome to the on-demand version of Dramatic Improvement in Test Scores. You know they struggle. You know they're pretty far behind. You may even know how many of them are behind. But do you know their gaps? Knowing what they don't know is the key to moving them along quickly. Trouble is, every student is unique with different gaps at different grade levels. Filling in these gaps is the key to moving students along more quickly and getting significantly improved test results. Ascend Math was created to directly address this problem. More than 90% of 7th grade students in Ascend start with gaps at least one full grade level below their current grade. In fact, the average class identified for intervention have gaps 2, 3, 4, or even more levels below their actual grade. Even within a given level, each of these students is unique with individual skill gaps. This is what a class looks like in Ascend Math. Students at different levels, each with their own individual skill gaps. What do you do with a class like this? Where do you even start to see improvement? Well, using Ascend Math, students fill in the gaps, starting with the earliest and working through a sequenced study plan, working only on what they don't know. Let me show you how it works. First, every student in Ascend takes a level recommendation test. This adaptive assessment adjusts to each individual student. The test increases or decreases difficulty based upon the student's responses. Each test is unique just as the student is unique. The result is educators know where students should begin instruction. This is Valley High School after their level placement test. You can see the spread. Now these are the same students just 3 months later after using Ascend Math. The only way students this far behind can move up quickly is by focusing only on what they don't know. And that takes a truly individualized study plan. This is how their results look in the Ascend Math dashboard. We'll take a closer look at this a little later on. What you find is that all students in a single class start at the level in which their gaps begin. They work at their own pace, filling in their gaps as prescribed. Teachers can easily track their students' level growth when looking on the teacher dashboard. When a student first logs into Ascend, there are no lessons in his plan. The student takes a short pre-assessment built around like objectives, allowing him to show what he does know. His lesson plan then fills with the objectives he does not know. The student then begins the first lesson. Completing the interactive lesson and activities, the student takes a post-assessment. Passing the assessment, the student moves on to the next lesson in his plan. When the lessons are completed, the student again takes a brief pre-assessment, building his lesson plan to the next stage. Research shows that for an effective and appropriate intervention, instruction should be closely tied to assessment results. The continual assessments in the Ascend Math architecture support this research. Now let's take a closer look at the award-winning instruction and assessment found in the student experience. This is what the student in Ascend Math sees. He starts his lesson. He opens the study guide and prints that out. He will do the first 2 lessons along with the instructor and the remaining problems on his own. It is also available in Spanish.
During this objective, we'll be looking at applications
Throughout
dealing with
the video
multiplication
lesson,
and division
the student
of
is engaged
fractions.
with questions
How
that he will
many
need to answer in
1/4
order to
pound
move along.
hamburgers
He'll
can be
complete
made
the
from 5
problems
pounds of
along
meat?
with the instructor.
Once again, how many 1/4 pound hamburgers
Most
can
lessons
be made
are only
from
6
5
minutes or
pounds
less
of meat?
in length.
We will be solving this mathematically, but I'd still like to begin solving this just thinking about it mentally. First of all, if I have a 1/4 pound
first
hamburger,
takes on this problem,
how many hamburgers of
thinking it
this
through.
size
And I'll show
can
you
I
just a
make?
little bit later on. She will actually break it
I
down
write
on the
down
whiteboard
4
as well.
over 1.
Now the student, of course,
Now
can
I'm
pause,
multiplying fractions,
watch another
and how do I
section again,
multiply fractions?
watch it as many
It
times
is
as he needs.
numerator times
Once he's
numerator,
completed the study guide
5 times
and watched
4
through the
over
video instruction,
1.
he will move to the exploration part. There is one of these for every objective, every skill gap that the student will have. In this case, it happens to be a virtual manipulative. It is always going to be another way to look at that same objective, and if it has not clicked for that student before, it will now. Once he's completed the explorations, he moves on to take a practice test. Even here, if the student doesn't understand correctly, we have additional help for that student in the form of an individual solution video.
For 2/3 of a cup of flour. If a cook is making half of the recipe, how much flour should the cook use? The rectangle.
Once the practice test is completed, the post-assessment unlocks, and the student may take the post-assessment. If the student doesn't pass the post-assessment, this review will show up. The student will open the review sheet, complete the review, retake the post-assessment, and move on. Let's take a look at how the students track their own progress on the dashboard, accessed from their home screen. At a glance here, Curtis sees his current objective and how many units he has in this level he has left to complete. Notice that time on task is also monitored. Though the test itself is not timed, the time the student spends in the activities and taking the test is tracked. With student and teacher looking at the same information, communication and goal setting are greatly improved. Here is a representative sample of pre-assessment results. Note the students at different levels all working on different skill gaps. Purple means they passed the pre-assessment for that objective. Blue means they did not pass, and that objective will be included in this individual sequence study plan. So students begin instruction at the appropriate level and at their lowest skill gap. When students are placed appropriately, they will start to see success immediately. So what kind of commitment does it take to get good results from Ascend Math? After all, you want to see improvement in your state test results. We recommend students work at least 1.5 to 2 hours each week on Ascend Math. This will move them through their skill gaps quickly, up into additional levels, gaining ground and doing better on their test results. Now, teachers have found several effective ways to split up this time. That's how much time Ascend takes students, but what about the teacher? Ascend is a data-rich program that only requires a few minutes of teacher time a few times a week to successfully monitor student progress. Ascend Math gives teachers more time for their students. However, for those who want to use Ascend Math with your entire class, you should know that Ascend easily supports whole class instruction. But how will you monitor student progress? Well, the class dashboard provides an at-a-glance look at the classroom as a whole, and the progress that they've made the past week, and since the beginning of the year. Notice in this class, students are working on all different skill gaps in 6 different levels. See also the progress they've made in completing levels. Everything you need is here, but let me show you an additional report that teachers do want to use. Now, there are many reports for specific uses available in Ascend. Teachers overwhelmingly turn to this particular report when sharing progress with parents. The course progress report shows you how an individual student is doing on pre-assessments, post assessments, the time on task, and even the time spent taking the post assessment. Now, administrators want to know what's going on as well, but they want that information easy and quick to digest. The administration dashboard provides a snapshot of usage and results, total hours worked and average usage per student. Let me go back there. And pre and post test results and gain. Now, I know you want to see some results and want to hear how AscendMath has been helpful in other schools, districts, improving their state test results. Well, using AscendMath, students at Emmett Belknap Intermediate School, who previously averaged only 1/2 of a grade level in growth, achieved nearly 4 times the growth on their NWEA scores using AscendMath. Emmett Belknap did not start using Ascend until midway through their first semester. Now, at Crisp County Middle School in Georgia, their state test passing results for struggling 7th graders improved from 10% to 83% after using AscendMath. Passing rates for the struggling 6th graders improved from 25% to 63%. And passing rates for their struggling 8th graders improved from 0 to 42%. Students entering Fort Stockton Middle School had math skill gaps of up to 6 to 7 years. Previous math intervention attempts did not work. They were not making AYP. Fort Stockton did not begin using AscendMath until January. The first half year their state test results greatly surpassed their goals in all categories. And their goals there, as you see them there, were set based upon these students' previous success and pass rates. Some students achieved proficiency on their state test after spending only 3 weeks on AscendMath during an intensive intervention initiative in which students were working on filling their math skill gaps. The very next year, by the way, Fort Stockton achieved the highest math performance of any middle school or junior high in their region. You can see their results here on AYP, on their TAX bridge study. TAX was their state test at that time. At Challenge High School, also known as the Texas Challenge Academy, all students attending are either at risk to drop out or have dropped out and returned. At least 75% of students at Challenge High School were functioning at 3 to 4 grades below 9th grade. Now, I don't have state test results on this, but these students really needed a great deal of help. Many repeated the same grade level 2 to 3 times, and in just 3 months of using AscendMath, all those students made significant progress in gaining a full year or more, with 90% gaining 2 or more years grade level growth over a 3-month intervention. I'd like to hear from one teacher using Ascend before we wrap up.
And then this, for me, has been, it's been almost a revelation because I can meet all my students' needs and it's not a struggle for me or them. It makes the process enjoyable for everybody. And we see such amazing gains. And they can see it because the graphs and stuff that the programs produce, they can understand them. Even with all the disabilities and all the things that we deal with, they can see, I was here, now I'm here. You know, they can see that. It's simple enough for them to understand, oh, I'm making progress. I've went from a level 2 to a level 4 in math.
Thank you for joining us for this on-demand version of our webinar. I hope you will learn more. Please go to our website, www.ascendmath.com. Call us on the 1-800 number. Let us show you more. Let us show you specifically what AscendMath can do for you yet this year in our special summer school program and beginning next school year. Thank you.